Versatile Sword Cultivator, Chapter 1, Lin Jichen Earth. Jangling City, West Mountain Cemetery. A woman stood silently in front of a newly erected tombstone, mourning the last journey of the deceased. The tombstone bore the name of the departed, Lin Jichen, aged 29. The woman, Ren Lan, was Lin Jichen's senior from university. She stood quietly before the grave, gazing at the portrait on the stone, which depicted a man with a handsome and clear-cut visage, his eyes bright as stars. Lost in the photograph, Ren Lan was momentarily transfixed. A cemetery worker approached, pushing a cart that held a dark mahogany ashes box. "It's time for the burial, ma'am. Would you like to do it, or shall we?" the worker reminded her. "I'll do it." With a heavy heart, Ren Lan walked over, took the ashes box, and carefully placed it into the small square pit beneath the tombstone. "I never imagined that after all these years without seeing each other, this would be our next meeting." She spoke to herself, mist forming in her eyes. Her voice choked up, unable to hide her sorrow. "You see, if you had just believed me back then, none of this would have happened. You had such a promising future in Tale of Immortal. But you chose to trust the wrong people, got cheated, and didn't even realize it. Ah, well, it's all in the past now. Ma'am, please place the deceased's personal effects in as well," the worker prompted again. Ren Lan nodded, her eyes reddening as she placed Lin Jichen's last belongings into the grave. But suddenly she remembered something and hurriedly retrieved a voice recorder from among the items. A note was stuck to the recorder, with a message written in small letters. "Ren Lan, open this when I'm buried." She had always remembered it, but in her grief, she had nearly forgotten. Holding the voice recorder, Ren Lan chose to play it, and a voice message began to play. "Miss Frenzy, long time no see. Ha ha ha, surprise! I've achieved enlightenment and am about to ascend to the heavens. This might be the last chance we have to meet, so I thought I'd leave you a recording." The voice in the audio was cheerful, without a trace of the solemnity or sadness one might expect in a final message, even jokingly equating his own death to ascending to immortality. Ren Lan wasn't surprised, as the Lin Jichen she knew had always been optimistic and sunny. The recording continued. "Actually, I owe you an apology. I should have listened to you sooner. But my own blindness is to blame, not others. I'm sorry, my dear Senior Ren Lan. If fate allows, we'll meet again in another life, and I'll continue to tease you, be your taekwondo sandbag. Well, it's time to say goodbye." Hearing this, Ren Lan's tears flowed freely. This was the second time in her life that she had cried. The first time was when Lin Jichen misunderstood her, and they parted ways. Ren Lan, who had always prided herself on never crying, broke down because of Lin Jichen. But in the next second, the tone of the audio changed abruptly. "Damn, where is this? Why is it so dark? Wasn't I supposed to ascend to immortality? Why am I locked in a little box? Help! Is anyone there to save me? I'm scared! Stop! No, no! Stop!" The cemetery workers nearby couldn't help but laugh. They had never heard such an unusual last message. Their job usually precluded laughter, given their professional training. Puffed. Ren Lan laughed too, wiping away her tears and cursing at the tombstone's occupant. "Lin Jichen, fuck you. Oh, she." Ding ding dong dong. The ringing of a cell phone woke Lin Jichen from his deep sleep. "Ouch, my head hurts." Lin Jichen clutched his head as he opened his eyes, his body and breath reeking of the unpleasant smell of alcohol and stomach acid from vomiting. Looking around at the room that felt both unfamiliar and vaguely familiar, his brain short-circuited for a moment. Holy crap, where am I? This looks so much like my college dorm. Didn't I suffer a fatal injury from the immortalization realm boss, Illuminating Dragon, and die after all treatments failed? How am I still alive? Hey, where's my storage ring? Where's my elixir field? Why is everything gone? 10 minutes later, after several confirmations, Lin Jichen finally understood. He had been reborn, back to 10 years ago. That year, he had just finished his college entrance examination and was a freshman. At 19, he was youthful and full of life. As for why he was reborn, Lin Jichen thought hard. If he wasn't mistaken, it had something to do with the jade pendant he snatched from the cave of the Illuminating Dragon. Lin Jichen had just obtained the pendant when it disappeared, but in the second before his death, he vaguely remembered seeing it again, emitting a dazzling light. Then he found himself back 10 years prior. Lin Jichen pondered for a moment and remembered. Before Tale of Immortal merged with the real world, there had always been a rumor. The strongest exotic beast in the immortalization realm, the Illuminating Dragon, possessed a supreme god artifact called the Double Fish Pendant, which could comprehend the laws of heaven. But no one had ever obtained it. After being framed, he accidentally fell into the Illuminating Dragon's cave. The jade pendant he obtained was most likely the legendary Double Fish Pendant. Unexpectedly, this legendary artifact granted him a chance to be reborn. Since heaven has spared me, Shu Zihui, Guoji, you treacherous pair. In this life, I will make you taste the pain of betrayal and utter despair. Lin Jichen stood in front of the dormitory mirror, looking at his reflection, his eyes flashing with a cold and bone-chilling chill. Before his rebirth, he had experienced the most tragic and desperate time of his life. His girlfriend of 10 years, Guo Jie, betrayed him, getting together with his most trusted brother, Shu Zihui. The two even conspired to swindle all his wealth, immortal pills, and magic treasures accumulated over 10 years. In the end, they tricked him into the abyss of the Illuminating Dragon to face certain death. Even as Lin Jichen, the strongest practitioner of the Enlightenment realm and the world's #1 magic user, he couldn't withstand the terrifying immortalization realm exotic beast and was gravely wounded before barely escaping. Due to his severe injuries and the lack of a cure, Lin Jichen soon passed away. Reflecting on his past life, Lin Jichen realized he had lived a complete tragedy. A good hand played terribly wrong. He had so many better choices, so many people who truly cared for him. But because of his stubbornness and misplaced confidence in his own judgment, he pushed away the girl who truly cared for him, responding coldly, while he embraced the viper-hearted woman, yielding to her every whim. Thinking about it, Lin Jichen found himself utterly ridiculous. Heaven was kind to let him return to 10 years ago, to the year 2040. On August 8th, 2040, a day that would change everything. A virtual online game with a realism rate of 100%, named Tale of Immortal, created by the universe-level artificial intelligence Nuwa, emerged, drawing on the cultural backgrounds of many countries to craft this epic-making first virtual game. Everyone thought it was just a virtual game. Until 5 years after the game's launch, strange things began to happen. First, a few players discovered that abilities and magic treasures from the game could be brought into reality, and even the NPCs from the game could come to the real world. Once this discovery was made public, humanity flocked to Tale of Immortal, all to gain the various abilities, cultivation levels, magic treasures, immortal pills, supernatural powers, and so on from the game. But with that came the various demons, villains, and massive beast tides from the game, descending upon reality. Even the worlds within the game merged with reality. It was this game that made Lin Jichen a practitioner of the Enlightenment realm, that gave him everything, and also took everything away. But now everything was starting from scratch, starting anew. Lin Jichen believed that with his 10 years of knowledge about Tale of Immortal, he was well aware of the various secret realms, hidden quests, immortal caves, divine pets, and divine weapons. With the skills he had honed over the past 10 years, Lin Jichen was confident he could become the strongest cultivator in Tale of Immortal. The game had been running for 10 years, but if you discount the time when the worlds merged, the actual game time was only 5 years. And Lin Jichen had only played for 4 years. He only came across the game in the second year after its public test, and he had a rough start, receiving a rather mediocre talent. Despite that, he rose above it. He caught up with most players and even made it into the top 10 of the Tale of Immortal leaderboard. And now, The date was August 7th, 2040. The public test for Tale of Immortal was tonight. Lin Jichen tried to calm his breathing and contain his emotions, sweeping away the gloom of his previous life, and grinned at the mirror. In this life, he would start over, seek revenge, and right wrongs. In this life, he would make up for the regrets of his past life and compensate those he had let down. In this life, he must not miss another year, wasting the most precious initial period of the game. Even if his start was the same as his previous life, receiving only a mediocre talent, Lin Jichen was still confident that with his knowledge of Tale of Immortal and 10 years of skill, he could leave everyone far behind and reach the pinnacle of the Tale of Immortal world. Ding ding dong dong. The phone rang again. Lin Jichen picked up his Huawei Tianwen phone from 10 years ago, and the caller ID displayed Miss Frenzy. Seeing this name, Lin Jichen couldn't help but smile brightly and immediately answered the call. Little Lin, why did you take so long to answer my call? Big news, you have to brace yourself. On the other end of the phone, a youthful female voice came through. Lin Jichen didn't pay attention to the content, simply savoring the sound of the voice. How long had it been since he heard this voice? A full 10 years, yet it was still so familiar, so comforting. I'm sorry, Miss Frenzy, Lin Jichen suddenly whispered. Huh? Sorry for what? The person on the other end clearly didn't catch on. Nothing. Just felt like saying it. Lin Jichen chuckled, casually brushing it off. In his past life, he owed apologies to 2 girls, and Ren Lan was one of them. Versatile sword cultivator. Chapter 2. Treat me like iron and strike me. 10 years ago to the day, Ren Lan called me. She said she saw Guo Jie kissing another guy on the street and then getting into his car. Guo Jie was the girlfriend I met in college, and I loved her deeply, so I refused to believe Ren Lan's words. Not only that, I even scolded Ren Lan for it. We had a huge fight over it. After that call, Ren Lan, who used to be so close to me, never sought me out again, and our friendship was broken. Ren Lan had planned to stay at the university for her postgraduate entrance examination, but because of this incident, she gave up and transferred to a school in another city. Since then, I never saw Ren Lan again, and blinded by Guo Jie, all I wanted was to marry the woman I loved. Little did I know, Guo Jie was not as simple as I thought. To describe her with internet slang, she was an angelic bitch, and a high-level one at that. She was even on par with that 65-page PPT girl. As a naive first-timer in love, I was easily played by her. She deceived me for 10 years, and in the end, she was even involved with my buddy, Shu Zikai. For a whole decade, I was fooled by her appearance and acting skills. Looking back now, I can't help but feel I was truly foolish. Hey, I don't have time for jokes. Brace yourself. I just saw Guo Jie kissing a guy on the street, and she got into his sports car, Ren Lan said earnestly. Oh, got it. Oh, just an O? Come on, I'm not messing with you, it's true. Ren Lan was frantic, thinking I didn't believe her. I believe you, I said with a light chuckle. But right now, I'd rather take you out for a meal. Are you free? Buddy, let's stay calm. Don't do anything rash, okay? You've got me all confused. Ren Lan was completely baffled, not understanding why I was so composed. Of course, she knew how much I, the naive one, liked Guo Jie. But now, with such shocking news, how could I remain indifferent? I'm not upset. Seriously, come down to my dorm building. I'll treat you to a meal, right now, immediately. Okay. I'll feel better if I keep an eye on you. I'm on my way. The call ended. I immediately went downstairs. I didn't have to wait long at the dorm building before a graceful figure appeared in my line of sight. Ren Lan was tall, nearly 1.8 meters, just half a head shorter than me. Her long, slender legs, like those of a walking model, were particularly eye-catching. Dressed in sportswear, with a sports headband tied around her forehead, Ren Lan's looks were natural and unpretentious, with a distinct Eastern charm. Her features were delicate, and perhaps due to frequent sun exposure, her skin was a healthy light wheat color. Her bare face needed no makeup or foundation to enhance it, and the vigor in her eyes and brows gave her a spirited air. As she approached, passing male students all turned to look, exclaiming, "Goddess! I've done a good deed today. You've got to treat me to a feast." "I want teppanyaki," Renlan said boldly as she approached me. "No problem. Eat your fill," I agreed without hesitation. "Huh, that's my buddy, let's go." We headed straight to the nearby food street and sat down at Renlan's favorite teppanyaki restaurant, facing each other. "Little Lin, I really didn't lie to you. It all happened so fast, I just pulled out my phone to take a picture for evidence, but they left immediately. Otherwise, I would have proof." As soon as Renlan sat down, she repeated the story to me. I was busy looking at the menu, replying nonchalantly, "I said I believe you, so you don't need to give me evidence. So you're not going to react? You don't care?" "Of course, I don't care anymore." "Damn, you're not into some weird fetish, are you? Like getting a kick out of being cuckolded," Renlan teased. I scowled and said, "You're the one who likes being cuckolded. I mean, I don't care about Guoji anymore, that's all." Renlan was even more surprised, asking skeptically, "Did you already know?" I shook my head with a wry smile. "Let's just put an end to this matter. My relationship with her is over too, so don't worry about me. I'm doing great." "Wow, did you two break up?" Renlan's eyes widened. "Yeah, for now, it's a unilateral decision on my part." "Awesome. This is the first time I've seen you take such a stand. I thought you'd hang yourself on that crooked tree." Renlan marveled, making me laugh and cry at the same time. The food we ordered arrived quickly. Looking at the long-missed food, I couldn't remember the last time I had grains. As a practitioner in the Enlightenment realm, I had long reached the state of inedia. Now, as an ordinary person, the smell of food made my stomach growl with hunger. We began to tackle the food on the table. Renlan chatted sporadically as she ate. "I told you long ago, Guojie isn't a good girl. I have a sister who's her roommate, and she told me firsthand that Guojie has to say goodnight on the phone to 7 or 8 guys every night, and you're just one of them. This woman is opportunistic, vain, and loves money. If it weren't for your looks as the campus idol, giving her face when she's out with you, she wouldn't even spare you a glance. And more." The more Renlan spoke, the more it hurt, so I quickly interjected, "All right, big sis, I've turned over a new leaf and started anew. Can we not talk about the past embarrassments? Isn't there enough food here to shut you up?" "Huh, where's that gonna get me? At most, I'll be 6/10 full. You know I work out every day. How else am I going to have the strength to pump iron?" Renlan replied with a grin. I immediately understood her hint and ordered several more dishes. "By the way, little Lin, have you heard of Tale of Immortal?" Renlan suddenly brought up the game, which wasn't surprising given that Tale of Immortal ads were everywhere. "Of course, I'm planning to enter the game as a professional player," I answered frankly. "I had to go back and reclaim everything that was mine." "No way, for real." Renlan was shocked. "You, who ranked top 10 in League of Legends Korean server and top 100 globally in CSGO, the king of holographic battle royale. You weren't willing to go pro back then, and now you're telling me you want to be a professional player in a new game." Renlan couldn't believe I wanted to be a professional gamer. My gaming talent was exceptional, and I excelled at any game I played, including a certain company's holographic battle royale, cough cough. Renlan also loved gaming. That was why she enjoyed playing with me. We always won, and no matter how much she messed up, I could always turn the tide. Riding on coattails wasn't shameful. I appeared very calm. "This game has a lot of potential. I suggest you also invest your energy into it. Forget the old games. They're just a waste of time." As someone who had been reborn, I knew what Tale of Immortal represented, but I couldn't just come out and say it, because no one would believe it. All I could do was offer some advice. "Ha, okay. But you have to lead me. My gaming talent is nowhere near yours." Renlan didn't doubt me. She simply wanted to play too. Now she had an excuse to indulge in gaming, so she was more than willing. "No problem. I'm planning to move out of the dorm in the next few days and rent a place to fully immerse myself in it. So you're not going to school anymore? No. Degrees and diplomas are useless to me now. I spoke of dropping out so casually. If I said this now, I'd surely be criticized for squandering my potential. But once Tale of Immortal was released, they'd see how wise I was. Wow, I've known you for so long, and today is the day I think you're the most badass. Renlan chewed on her steak and gave me a thumbs up. I handed her a glass of juice with a smile, fearing she might choke. Versatile Sword Cultivator. Chapter 3. The Beginning of the Dream. Sitting across from a dear friend unseen for a decade, Lin Jichen felt an unprecedented joy in his heart, being able to chat and laugh together once again. There were no more misunderstandings between them. They were still good friends. To make up for past misunderstandings, Lin Jichen ordered several more dishes. They feasted until they could eat no more, only stopping when they were about to burst. When it came time to pay, Lin Jichen took out his phone to settle the bill. But upon opening his phone, he was stunned. His WeChat and Alipay accounts were empty. Even his credit was maxed out. He would have liked to casually pull out a precious spirit stone or gold bars and gems from his storage ring to pay the bill. But now he had neither spirit stones nor a storage ring, only an equally empty wallet. With no other choice, the Enlightenment realm powerhouse Lin Jichen, cheeks flushed, had to ask Renlan for help. In the end, under Renlan's murderous gaze, they paid the bill and left the restaurant. Lin Jichen, you sly little man. You promised to treat me, and in the end, I had to pay. What a move. Really impressive. Lin Jichen's face turned red, and he walked ahead, too ashamed to face her. There was an unexpected issue. I checked my account history, and my wallet was overdrawn yesterday. Renlan pouted and mocked. Who asked you to live beyond your means? You gave Guo Jie such an expensive birthday gift yesterday and insisted on ordering so much alcohol. Now you're struggling to pay for a meal, right? Lin Jichen scratched his head, feeling extremely embarrassed. Why couldn't he have been reborn a day earlier? If he had, he wouldn't have done such a foolish thing. He could have avoided a huge expense. Now, with Renlan bringing it up, he really did have a headache. He was indeed out of money. He had been planning to move out and rent a place, but with this turn of events, it seemed he could only stay in the dormitory. Wait, that meant he couldn't buy the game ring either. Damn it! Lin Jichen suddenly remembered why he had only entered Tale of Immortal a year after its beta test. All his money had been spent on Guoji, the gold digger, leaving him nothing for the game ring. The gifts Guojai demanded became more and more expensive, and his debts snowballed. That year, he was busy earning money to pay off debts. Moreover, Lin Jichen's parents had passed away early, leaving him nothing but an old house. With the support of relatives, Lin Jichen barely finished high school. Although he had the scores to attend a top university, the lack of funds led him to choose Jiangling Normal University, which offered him a tuition waiver and a scholarship. In college, he earned his living expenses by leveling up accounts for others at internet cafes and being a paid gaming companion. Yesterday's birthday celebration for Guo Jie had drained all his savings. The more he thought about it, the more frustrated Lin Jichen became. Why couldn't he have been reborn a day earlier? "Va, give me your phone," Renlan suddenly said. Lin Jichen handed it over without thinking. Renlan took out her own phone, and after a flurry of tapping, Lin Jichen heard the sound of a money transfer from his phone. He immediately understood. This is several years' worth of my gym membership fees. Remember to pay me back early. If I can't go to the gym because of you, I'll use you as a sandbag for my workouts. Renlan waved her fist, threatening him fiercely. Lin Jichen took his phone back and softly said, "Don't worry, I'll pay you back on time." "Forget it. I'm not in a hurry. I can work out at home. I'm tired of giving money to the gym anyway. Besides, every time I go, there's a bunch of guys hogging the equipment, and I have to wait in line. It's better to just train at home." Renlan pretended not to care. But how could Lin Jichen not hear that she was trying to comfort him? So he mischievously smiled and asked, "Forget the sandbag. Why not treat me as balloon and pump me instead?" No sooner had he finished speaking Then his ear was pinched. "What did you say?" Renlan's eyes were sharp, ready to throw Lin Jichen out at any moment. Lin Jichen quickly backed down. Damn, this woman dares to be so disrespectful to an Enlightenment realm powerhouse, so presumptuous. Ouch, that hurts. After seeing Renlan off, Lin Jichen immediately left the school to look for a place to live. To make it convenient for Renlan to visit, he looked for housing near the school. Finally, after careful selection, he chose a well-furnished two-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood. The rent was only 3,000 yen a month, a friendly price for a neighborhood close to a transportation hub and with a good environment. Lin Jichen had seen other inferior apartments going for several times the price. The apartment was temporarily managed by an agency for rental. The landlord was away traveling and wouldn't be back for a few days, leaving them in full charge. The agent repeatedly reminded Lin Jichen to keep the apartment clean and tidy, not to keep pets, and to limit occupancy to 2 people, as per the landlord's requirements. The landlord would inspect the place periodically, and if dissatisfied, could terminate the contract unilaterally and evict him. This strictness was why no one else had rented the place, but Lin Jichen didn't mind. He was somewhat of a neat freak and would definitely keep the place clean. Plus, it was just him, and with Renlan, they met the conditions. Even if the landlord inspected often, it was no big deal for him, a grown man. Decisive in his actions, Lin Jichen signed the contract, got the keys by noon, and checked the utilities with the agent. By the afternoon, he had moved out of the dormitory. The dormitory housed 4 people, but the other 3 roommates always ganged up against Lin Jichen. The reason, unclear even after 10 years, seemed to be that one of the roommates had a crush on a girl who was interested in Lin Jichen. So, they had a grudge against him, often targeting him with petty actions. Lin Jichen had never gotten along with them, and had even forgotten their names. Now that he had moved out, both parties were more at ease. After moving into the apartment, the first thing Lin Jichen did was order the Tale of Immortal game ring online for 5,999 yuan. The game also offered gaming pods, but they were expensive, starting at 50,000 yuan, which was beyond Lin Jichen's current means. The order arrived in less than 2 hours, showcasing the game company's efficiency. Holding the familiar game ring, Lin Jichen played with it for a while before setting it aside. The game wasn't open for public testing yet, so he couldn't play even if he wanted to. Taking advantage of the remaining time, Lin Jichen cooked himself a bowl of tomato and egg noodles, took a bath, and then checked the time. It was almost here. August 8th, 2040, at 001, Tale of Immortal went live globally. At that moment, countless players donned their rings and dove into the world of Tale of Immortal. Lin Jichen was no exception. Lying in bed, he put on the ring, completed the iris scan to bind it, and then his entire being entered the virtual world, surrounded by a sea of stars and enveloped in celestial mist. He stood within a grand and ancient palace. 10 years later, he was back where the dream began. Versatile sword cultivator. Chapter 4. Defying Fate. A celestial woman with a jade-like complexion and a serene, saintly aura floated in the air. Her beauty was unparalleled. Clad in a glimmering glass-like dress, she resembled the 9 Heavens Maiden, captivating onlookers who couldn't bear to look away. Even Lin Jichen, who had seen her a decade ago, couldn't help but take a few extra glances. But he never thought about flirting with her. This woman was extraordinary, a guide on the path of immortality and the mastermind behind Tale of Immortal, Nuwa. And in Chinese mythology, Nuwa is known as the mother of the earth, the god of nature who created all things. Those who dared to speak to Nuwa carelessly never met a good end. Many players, lured by Nuwa's looks and figure, disrespected her. Some tried to hit on her, others begged to cling to her coattails, and a few even had the audacity to think of molesting her. The consequences were dire. Those who made inappropriate advances were locked in a dark cell for a few minutes, if their words weren't too filthy. Those who made vulgar and lewd comments not only faced a day or two in the cell, but also suffered a permanent reduction in their charm upon logging back in. And for those who attempted molestation, they faced a 7-day confinement and a permanent charm reduction. Moreover, upon release, all NPC affection levels turned negative. They couldn't accept quests, and their attributes halved for a week. Many had fallen victim to this. In his past life, Lin Jichen had done such things, but he wasn't lecherous. He believed Nuwa held hidden quests or rewards, so he pestered Nuwa relentlessly, inquiring about these secrets countless times. Eventually, Nuwa grew tired and confined him for a few minutes, and he learned his lesson. Reborn, Lin Jichen certainly wouldn't repeat such foolishness. He waited quietly for her to speak. Nuwa's eyes calmly met his, and as she spoke, it was like listening to the music of the heavens. "Mortal, do you truly wish to embark on the path of cultivation?" "Yes," Lin Jichen replied. "Tell me your name." Without hesitation, Lin Jichen answered, "Lin Jichen." In his past life, his ID was Lin Iji, which spoke volumes to those who understood the term simp. Now reborn, Lin Jichen just wanted to be himself. "Since you've decided to step onto the path of immortality, I shall bestow upon you an opportunity. What you make of it is entirely up to you. Here it comes. The starting talent is about to be revealed." Lin Jichen's eyelids twitched. If he wasn't mistaken, he would receive a mediocre innate talent just like before, called business prodigy. The talent's effect was simple: a 10% reduction in spirit stones spent at all town shops. In other words, it was just a money-saving feature with no other use. Such a talent was best suited for a game merchant, but Lin Jichen had no interest in that and had to carry this mediocre talent on his journey of cultivation. Yet, even with this, he had managed to become one of the top-tier experts in Tale of Immortal, the #1 magic cultivator. Fine. Business prodigy it is. Innate talent isn't everything. With my knowledge of Tale of Immortal, even with a lousy start, I can still turn the tides. Lin Jichen comforted himself. Nuwa raised her hand, and a stream of rosy light entered Lin Jichen's body, assessing his constitution. For some reason, what should have been a quick check took much longer this time. The light lingered inside Lin Jichen for half a minute before finally dissipating. Just as Lin Jichen grew puzzled, the game notification sounded. "Congratulations on obtaining the innate talent, Defying Fate." Lin Jichen was stunned. Why wasn't it business prodigy? Was it because of his rebirth, or did the jade pendant help him? With this thought, Lin Jichen quickly checked the description. Defying Fate. Born against the heavens, defying the natural order, blessed with extraordinary destiny. Just these 12 words let Lin Jichen know this was no ordinary talent. In his 10 years in Tale of Immortal, he had never heard of anyone receiving such a talent. He read on eagerly. The talent had 3 effects. Born against the heavens. Those born against the heavens, like a phoenix reborn from ashes. All innate attributes are at their maximum, but with each death, all innate attributes decrease by 10%. Defying the natural order. Those who defy the natural order are envied by the heavens. With each major breakthrough, all attribute bonuses are doubled, but a heavenly tribulation is guaranteed, and failure means the soul is scattered. Extraordinary destiny. Those with an extraordinary destiny are always accompanied by opportunities. With each major breakthrough, an additional random talent is awarded, and each time a major realm is broken through, a heavenly level condition must be completed. After reading the talent description, Lin Jichen was silent for a few seconds, then overwhelmed with joy. He hadn't expected his rebirth to change even his talent. Defying fate, this talent was invincible. Although the talent came with benefits and dangers alike, for Lin Jichen, these were trivial matters. Great opportunities always come with great risks. If he lacked the heart to face these challenges, he might as well not have been reborn. He could just find a piece of stinky tofu and headbutt it to death. The talent has been bestowed upon you. Now you must choose your appearance. As Nuwa spoke, she raised her hand. A projection screen appeared, displaying Lin Jichen's image. Beside it were many hairstyles to choose from. This was similar to character customization in online games. However, in Tale of Immortal, one couldn't change their face. They were stuck with their given appearance and could only choose a hairstyle suitable for the world of immortals. There were loose hair, tied hair, flat buns. There were also explosive hairstyles like the one from Friends or the protagonist's bun from The Legend of Sword and Fairy, and more. One could even choose to be bald, have a shaved head, or sport dreadlocks. In short, any hairstyle was possible, and hair color could be chosen too. In his past life, Lin Jichen had encountered many non-mainstream players with red or green hair. This time, Lin Jichen chose a half-loose hairstyle with a hair crown, which suited his face and gave him an elegant and suave look. In his past life, he had been foolish, thinking he was tired of being handsome and that anything would do in the game. So, he chose the explosive hairstyle like that of Storm Riders, only to find out later that the higher the looks, the easier it was to gain the affection of NPCs of the opposite sex. His explosive hairstyle had significantly lowered his already high charm. This time, Lin Jichen wouldn't make the same mistake. Appearance confirmed. Next, a scroll appeared in front of Lin Jichen. The scroll unfurled on its own, revealing a map. The map was divided into 4 sections. They were marked Yongning Province, Yuehua Province, Muxian Province, and Huafeng Province. These 4 provinces were the starting points players could choose from. The map of Tale of Immortal was vast, and these 4 provinces were just the tip of the iceberg. The rest of the map was highly dangerous and required high cultivation levels to explore. The 4 provinces, aside from their names, had no descriptions. Players could pick at will. Though they seemed similar, Lin Jichen, as someone who had been through it before, knew there were secrets hidden within. These 4 provinces were each suited to one of the 4 mainstream professions in Tale of Immortal: magic cultivation, medical cultivation, artifact cultivation, and physical cultivation. Yongning Province was most suitable for magic cultivators. Yuehua Province was most suitable for medical cultivators. Muxian Province was most suitable for artifact cultivators. Huafeng Province was most suitable for physical cultivators. It wasn't to say that it was absolute. In fact, any profession could shine anywhere. However, each of the 4 provinces hid special opportunities unknown to others, which were not available on other continents. For example, in Yongning Province, there were opportunities left by powerful magic cultivators. These included various rare-level magic treasures, supernatural powers, and immortal pills that only magic cultivators could use. The other professions had similar opportunities. However, such opportunities were hard to come by, and the triggering and completion conditions were very strict. Luck and strength were both essential to seize these opportunities. Lin Jichen first needed to determine which profession he would pursue: versatile sword cultivator. Chapter 5. Abandon Spell. Cultivation. For sword cultivation, Lin Jichen didn't rush to choose a profession. Instead, he first checked his attribute panel. Player, Lin Jichen. Innate talent, defying fate. Sect, none. Profession, none. Reputation, 0. Cultivation, 0. Realm, mortal. Innate physique, 100, max. Innate spirit, 100, max. Innate comprehension, 100, max. Innate charm, transcendent beauty, max. Innate luck, auspicious, max. Physique determines the upper limit for chi cultivators and body cultivators, while spirit determines the limit for spell cultivators and healing cultivators. Comprehension is key to learning rare and powerful skills. Many formidable skills require high comprehension, and it also makes it easier to understand various talents. Charm and luck are also very important. Charm can affect NPCs' affection level towards you. Players with high charm find it easy to get missions and cling to the coattails of the powerful. They might even encounter the good fortune of opposite-sex NPCs wanting to dual cultivate with them. Luck goes without saying. After reviewing his attribute panel, Lin Jichen was filled with fighting spirit. With such a start, who else could compete? Taking a deep breath, he calmed the excitement in his heart and began to seriously consider his career path. Lin Jichen's attributes were all maxed out, so he had no need for concern. He could play any profession he wanted. In his past life, Lin Jichen was a spell cultivator player, proficient in the techniques and skills of spell cultivators, and knew them like the back of his hand. Logically, continuing as a spell cultivator would be the most appropriate choice and the easiest to get the hang of. After all, it was the path he was familiar with, and there was no pressure in following it. Lin Jichen could confidently say that if he continued as a spell cultivator, no one could match him in this profession. He could easily become the world's #1 spell cultivator, but precisely because he was proficient in spell cultivation, Lin Jichen was also acutely aware of its drawbacks. Spell cultivators may deal massive damage in the later stages, with full AoE and invincibility in group battles. A forbidden spell cast into a crowd of enemies could be exhilaratingly powerful. However, spell cultivators are difficult to train and resource-intensive. Their single-target damage is insufficient, and their defenses are too low. They are fragile and easily taken down, with many professions that can counter them. These were all insights Lin Jichen, a top-tier spell cultivator, had gained through years of experience. The most fatal point was that spell cultivators were at a disadvantage in PKs. Once someone closed in on them, they were powerless, and a single misstep could lead to an unexpected defeat. Another important point was that Lin Jichen didn't like spell cultivation. He had chosen spell cultivation simply because Guoji said she liked it, so he followed suit. In fact, he had always been fascinated by the freedom of weapon cultivators, such as sword cultivators, who could control the sword and soar through the skies, ruling over 100 blades and reveling in the martial world. Knife cultivators could sweep across the world with their divine blades, following the momentum without fear and being invincible. Spear cultivators could thrust with a glint of cold light, their spears emerging like dragons, fierce and domineering, striking wherever they pointed, and so on. Unlike spell cultivators who, regardless of the type, were always casting spells from the sidelines. In Tale of Immortal, weapon cultivators were recognized as the most popular, with the most players, and as the profession that required the most skill and presented the greatest challenge. After carefully weighing the pros and cons, Lin Jichen finally resolutely abandoned the old path of spell cultivation. Actually, thinking about it, giving up spell cultivation might be for the best. Since he had been reborn, why not start everything anew? A new profession was a new challenge. Otherwise, if everything was done by the book, wouldn't it be too boring? Moreover, Lin Jichen believed in his gaming talent. Any profession in his hands could shine brightly. Lin Jichen's physique was also at max value, making him perfectly suited for weapon cultivation. Without hesitation, Lin Jichen touched the map and chose Muxian province. He would choose the most popular profession among weapon cultivators. Sword cultivator. Sword cultivators had the highest single-target damage. Whether it was player duels or soloing bosses, they were the most suitable. If he wanted to become the world's #1, it was destined that there would be countless struggles, open confrontations, assassinations, and sneak attacks. Spell cultivators were very afraid of these underhanded tactics. Sword cultivators, however, were not. Another point was that Lin Jichen had previously chosen Muxian province. Back then, he had no idea about the hidden opportunities in the 4 provinces, so as a spell cultivator, Lin Jichen settled in Muxian province. He was all too familiar with everything in Muxian province. So this was also a reason for Lin Jichen to abandon spell cultivation for sword cultivation. After touching Muxian province, Lin Jichen transformed into a streak of light and disappeared from the heavenly palace. The next moment, he arrived in a picturesque village, dressed in coarse linen clothes, bare-handed, with nothing else. This was the treatment for newcomers. Lin Jichen looked around. The beautiful little village was already surrounded by more and more new players. Damn, bro, this game is too realistic. Feels like I've traveled to another world. Admiring the picturesque scenery, I wanted to compose a poem for the world. But alas, I'm uneducated. so all I can say is damn, what a big mountain. I'm a gaming newbie. Please help. How do I play this game? I don't understand anything. Crazy Shark Guild is recruiting. Hurry up if you want to sign up. Any girls want to be in-game couples? My name is Love's Cold Funeral. The surroundings were very noisy. At the village entrance stood an old man in his 60s. Anyone who had played a bit of online gaming would know that this must be an NPC with a mission to offer. So the crowd squeezed together, all to get a mission from the old man. Lin Jichen, watching the scene that rivaled the chaos of a train station during the Spring Festival, had no intention of going with the flow. He bypassed the village chief and walked into the village. The village was also crowded. It seemed that many players, like Lin Jichen, thought there were too many people at the entrance and came inside to try their luck. Everywhere, players were interacting with NPCs in search of missions. Every man, woman, and child in the village was besieged by these players, all seeking missions. Lin Jichen's arrival caused a stir among the crowd of players. No one had noticed him at the entrance due to the crowd, but upon entering the village, Lin Jichen immediately became the center of attention. Wow, I saw a super handsome guy. Handsome guy, want to team up? Handsome, do you have a girlfriend? I've fallen for you at first sight. I think he's even more handsome than my idol. What do you guys think? Could this be a newly debuted star? I have to look him up. Many female players chattered excitedly, unable to take their eyes off Lin Jichen. The male players, on the other hand, were all seething with jealousy. Damn, this kid is even more handsome than Jin Chengwu from Bengbu. I, Peng Yuyan from Cao County, am the first to object. Wu Yanzu from Nancheng reporting in. Have you asked me, Zi Tingfeng from Yiwu? Lin Jichen's arrival made the already noisy village even livelier. What was more exaggerated was that not only the players had such a big reaction to Lin Jichen's arrival. Even the female NPCs in the village began to look towards Lin Jichen, a graceful young woman at the tailor shop who was clearly giving out missions to other players, acted as if she had seen her lover upon seeing Lin Jichen. She stopped giving out missions and even asked the players queuing up for missions to make way. Then, swaying her hips, she walked over to Lin Jichen with a seductive gait. The young woman initiated a conversation. Hello, young man. My name is Kui Niang. I'm the owner of the tailor shop in this village. Do you want to take on a mission? Sister can arrange it for you. She added, if you find the mission too difficult, Sister can help you with it too. My husband passed away 5 years ago, and I've been single ever since. All the players watched dumbfounded, their mouths agape in disbelief. While others were begging NPCs for missions, Lin Jichen had an NPC actively offering him one, even willing to help. What kind of divine treatment was this? And the key point was that the widowed shop owner seemed to have taken a liking to Lin Jichen, even revealing her relationship status. Damn it, we refuse to accept this. A male player immediately stood up to protest against the widow shopkeeper. It's unfair. Why does he get to cut in line? We've been waiting so long, and you even said you'd help him with a quest. This is too unfair. We protest! Little did they know, the widow's demeanor towards him was completely different from how she treated Lin Jichen. She looked at the male player with disdain, not only failing to smooth things over, but instead mocking him. Before you protest, take a good look at yourself in the mirror. Can't a sister like good-looking brothers? I just want to take care of him. If you have a problem with that, you can leave. No one begged you to come here for work. The male player was so angry he felt like spitting blood, insulted by a game NPC for his looks. He cursed and left. However, after the widow's words, the other disgruntled players didn't dare to make a sound, afraid of upsetting her and not getting a quest. Being publicly ridiculed by an NPC would probably lead to social death on the spot. Thinking about the male compatriot just now, the empathy was too strong. Seeing everyone quiet down, the widow put on a beaming smile again. But this smile was reserved only for Lin Jichen. How about it, little brother? Lin Jichen hadn't expected that maxing out his charm would bring such great benefits. He felt that if he wanted, he could cultivate an affection level with this charming widow. In a few days, he might even be able to dual cultivate with her. Cough, cough. Of course, that was just a joke. He, Lin Jichen, was not that kind of person. Responding to the widow's enthusiasm, he politely replied, "Next time. I have other things to do now. I'll come to you for a quest next time." The widow, a bit disappointed, sashayed back to her tailor shop, looking downcast. It was as if Lin Jichen had led her on and then abandoned her. Not wanting to be the center of attention any longer, Lin Jichen quickly bypassed the crowd and sped up his pace. Fortunately, only female NPCs who cared a lot about looks were so proactive and attentive towards him. Other NPCs were not as exaggerated as the charming widow. But due to his transcendent charm, their first impressions of Lin Jichen were extremely good. Passers-by greeted him one after another. Lin Jichen felt like he didn't need to make any effort in this game. He could just find a female sword cultivator with high looks, cling to her coattails, and live the life of a gigolo. This was actually another way to play Tale of Immortal. When he finally reached the end of the village, Lin Jichen saw a weapon shop. A muscular man with a coiled beard, bare-chested and sweaty, stood at the entrance. He was hammering away at an unfinished weapon by the forge, the clanging sounds unceasing. At first glance, the man's hammering technique seemed a bit wild. Inside the shop, several players were trying to interact with him to get a quest. Unfortunately, the man ignored their attempts, focused solely on his forging. Damn, is this guy deaf? It's possible. Let's go, let's go. Don't waste time on a deaf man. I heard the widow at the tailor shop is giving out quests. Let's go there. Seeing the man's lack of response, the players gave up and left the weapon shop. Lin Jichen walked over, looked at the man, and then at the forge beneath him. He said nothing, nor did he interact with the man. Instead, he sat down by the forge, grabbed the bellows handle, and began to pump. The flames in the forge soared, and the temperature surged. The man, who had been focused on his weapon, suddenly brightened up, muttering, "Yes, that's it. The temperature was too low, the fire too small." He continued to hammer the weapon in the fire. Lin Jichen, as if he hadn't heard, kept working the bellows. After about 5 minutes, the man sighed with relief. Finally, it's taking shape. Only then did Lin Jichen stop his actions. The man immediately turned his attention to Lin Jichen and laughed heartily. "Thank you for helping me with the bellows. My apprentice is not here today, and no one was tending the forge. No wonder the fire wasn't strong enough." He then said to Lin Jichen, "Since you've helped me, I should repay you." Pointing to the weapon rack behind him in the shop, he said, "Pick any weapon from there. I'll lend it to you for a day, but you must return it to me after that." If it were an ordinary player, they would have cursed. "Damn it, I helped you so much. You should at least give me a weapon. What's with lending it for a day?" But Lin Jichen calmly nodded. "Thank you, I'll just take a sword." The man nodded, took an iron sword and handed it over. Lin Jichen took the iron sword from the blacksmith and casually checked its attributes. Ordinary grade iron sword. A common iron sword, strength +3. "Young man, I'll lend you this iron sword for a day. If you can bring me 10 pairs of green bamboo viper fangs within a day, I'll give you an opportunity." "No problem, I'll take it." Lin Jichen smiled, successfully embarking on the path of a sword cultivator. After accepting the quest, he immediately set off, leaving the shop. Some players who were still loitering at the entrance of the weapon shop, unable to find their way, were incredulous when they saw Lin Jichen come out with an iron sword in hand. Damn, how did that guy get a weapon? We're still using fists, sticks, and throwing rocks at monsters, and he's got a sword. Hey buddy, how did you get the sword? Tell us. Don't think you can leave without telling us. I hate people who hog all the good stuff. That's right. If you don't spill the beans, We'll block you so you can't go anywhere." Faced with their questioning, Lin Jichen casually pointed inside the shop. "Just find that strong man, sing him a song, and touch his heart." "Really? It's that simple?" Some were skeptical. Lin Jichen explained, "That big guy just broke up with his girlfriend. He's heartbroken. So you have to sing a sad love song with real emotion." A few believed him and immediately rushed into the shop, surrounding the man and showcasing their moving, singing voices. Give me a glass of forgetful water, so I won't cry all night. Too bad it's not you, staying with me till the end. Wanting to stay but can't is the loneliest. Awoo. The tender words are left unfinished, only the breakup song remains. Out of tune. Happy breakup. Wish you happiness. A group of players barged into the shop and started howling at the owner. Their voices were like castrated ducks and laboring sows. The other players outside were baffled. What was going on? Was that a blacksmith shop or a karaoke TV? The most confused was the weapon shop owner. Listening to these guys screaming their lungs out, it was like his ears were vomiting. "You! Get out!" Without exception, all the players were kicked out. The onlookers outside were bent over laughing, mocking them for being out of stock. Why no reaction? Maybe you didn't sing with feeling. Try again. Damn it. Try what? It's useless. We've been played by that kid. Where's that kid? I want to settle the score. He's long gone. Lin Jichen strolled leisurely out of the village. At the village entrance stood a simple signpost, marking the locations of wild beasts nearby. The territory of the green bamboo snake was in the bamboo forest to the southeast. Lin Jichen picked up his iron sword and hurried towards the bamboo forest. The sword in his hand was particularly conspicuous in everyone's eyes. After all, while everyone else was unarmed, this man had a weapon, naturally arousing much curiosity. "Big brother, how did you get that weapon?" "Little brother, can you tell me how you got that weapon? I want one too." "Boss, take me with you. Can we team up?" "Fellow, are you selling your sword? I'll pay for it. We can trade outside the game. I can transfer to you via Alipay. WeChat works too." Lin Jichen, annoyed by the barrage of questions, quickly sped up to escape. After shaking off most of the players, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. But still, a small group of players followed him persistently, wanting to uncover his secrets. Lin Jichen paid no mind to the eyes behind him, continuing on his way. In less than 2 minutes, a bamboo forest appeared ahead, with a warning sign at the entrance. "Enter snake forest with caution." Lin Jichen stepped in. The bamboo forest was serene, with only the rustling of leaves in the wind, seemingly empty. But upon closer inspection, one could see green snakes coiled on the bamboo branches, with shadows moving along the ground. Lin Jichen didn't rush in to fight the creatures, but first brought up his combat attribute panel. Vitality, 100, 100. Mana, 100, 100. Realm, mortal realm. Cultivation, 0, 100. Strength, 1. Mental power, 1. Defense, 1. Speed, 1. Skills, none. Equipment, iron sword. A very ordinary attribute panel. Strength determined physical damage. Mental power determined spell damage. 1 point of strength equaled 10 points of attack, and the same went for mental power. This panel was the basic combat attribute for all players when they first entered the game. Once everyone stepped into the chi refining realm, these attributes would instantly increase tenfold. Innate attributes and combat attributes were unrelated, so although Lin Jichen had full innate attributes, his combat attributes were no different from others. Even if you were a prodigy, without learning anything, you were still an ordinary person. Lin Jichen closed the panel and began to tackle the task at hand. He quickly found a green bamboo snake coiled on a bamboo branch. Its deep green body almost blended with the color of the bamboo, difficult to distinguish without close attention. Especially the triangular head and those small crimson eyes were chilling, making one instinctively want to keep their distance. It had to be said, the realism of the game, Tale of Immortal, was impeccably done, boasting a 100% simulation rate. The green bamboo snake, noticing Lin Jichen, an intruder approaching, immediately hissed and slightly raised its head, a clear pre-attack posture. Lin Jichen chose to strike first, swinging his iron sword. Curious about the feel of the iron sword, Lin Jichen's casual slash left a clear mark on the snake's body. 30! A blood-red number floated up from the snake. At the same time, Lin Jichen saw the snake's attribute panel. Wild monster green bamboo snake. Vitality 120, 150. Strength 2. Defense 1. Skills snake venom. The injured snake hissed angrily, its ferocity fully aroused as it lunged at Lin Jichen. Lin Jichen wasn't foolish enough to stand still and wait to be bitten. For new players, encountering poisonous wild monsters was a headache because their attacks came with a toxin that caused continuous health loss. New players, unfamiliar with the game, didn't know how to dodge and often got hit. Once poisoned, without money to buy antidotes, it was like wearing a mask of agony. New players would rather face thick-skinned, tough beasts than provoke poisonous creatures. However, Lin Jichen was no novice. He watched the snake's attack and stepped back to the right, nimbly dodging the lunge. A snake's attack is well known. If it misses, it quickly recoils to adjust and strike again. The green bamboo snake missed and retracted its head. Lin Jichen seized this opportunity, gripping the hilt and twirling the sword, thrusting it towards the snake's head, 7 inches down, the vital spot. The saying, "strike the snake at 7 inches," is well known because that's where its heart lies. In Tale of Immortal, every species has weaknesses and strengths. Hitting the weak spot deals more damage. The sword pierced the snake, skin tearing and blood gushing, a deeper wound than before appearing on its body. The snake fell from the bamboo, writhing in pain on the ground. A critical hit, 60. The damage doubled with this strike. The snake was left with only 60 vitality points. Lin Jichen struck while the iron was hot, thrusting his sword precisely into the 7-inch spot again. 60. The damage perfectly depleted the health bar, instantly killing the green bamboo snake. Just changed professions, not bad at all, Lin Jichen muttered to himself, holding the iron sword. Although switching from a spellcaster to a weapon master was a completely different career path, his years of experience in Tale of Immortal meant no player could match his understanding of the game. Lin Jichen was well versed in all the professions, having sparred with countless players of different classes. Familiarity bred insight. He knew their skills, strengths, and weaknesses, and could quickly master them. If, as a spellcaster, Lin Jichen was the ultimate champion, then playing other professions, he was at least of diamond level. In Tale of Immortal, what mattered more was gameplay operation and combat talent, which had nothing to do with profession. Some people just don't have the talent for gaming. With mediocre operation, even the most powerful classes wouldn't shine in their hands. Lin Jichen, however, was a natural at gaming. Whatever game he played, he could max out his operation, inventing all sorts of unimaginable strategies and moves. Even in his previous life, playing the least operation-intensive spellcaster class, he could still dazzle with his play, and he managed to reach the top 10 of the leaderboard, recognized as the #1 spellcaster, even though he started playing the game a year later than others. This was Lin Jichen's innate ability. In other words, gaming was his bread and butter. Playing the sword for the first time, Lin Jichen felt no aversion. Instead, a sense of inexplicable familiarity and excitement. Upon the snake's death, a wisp of blue light floated up and entered Lin Jichen's body. Cultivation +3. Lin Jichen's cultivation panel went from 0-100 to 3-100. Cultivation was akin to experience. Once cultivation was full, one could break through to the next realm, and attributes would increase accordingly. The cultivation given by the snake was quite high. Even the toughest wild boars in the novice village only gave 5 points of cultivation. The monsters encountered by other players probably only gave 1 or 2 points of cultivation, pitifully little. The difficulty of leveling up in Tale of Immortal was particularly high, but there were many ways to increase cultivation. Killing monsters and completing quests were the most common, along with other methods like consuming elixirs, meditating, or dual cultivation with a partner. Having dealt with the first monster he encountered after rebirth, Lin Jichen was in a good mood. After the snake died, it turned into a soul burial mound, which Lin Jichen searched. There were only a pair of venomous fangs. Lin Jichen thought that was it. Unexpectedly, inside the soul burial mound, there was also a piece of white equipment. This left him somewhat surprised. In Tale of Immortal, the drop rate for equipment was extremely low, especially for weaker monsters. The likelihood of dropping equipment was even lower. Unexpectedly, he had only killed an ordinary little snake, and out came a piece of equipment. This was truly unexpected. The surprise was fleeting, and Lin Jichen quickly figured it out. It must be thanks to his innate full-valued luck, which clearly bore the words, "the lucky one." In Tale of Immortal, luck is divided into 4 types: bad luck, average luck, good luck, and great luck. The majority of players have average luck. A very small number of players have either bad luck or good luck. As for great luck, it's as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns, 1 in a million. Of course, great luck doesn't mean that you can get a divine artifact by randomly killing a chicken. That kind of scenario only exists in the legends endorsed by Jackie Chan. In Tale of Immortal, even with the best of luck, it only means that within a certain range and the highest probability, you get the best things from a certain randomness. Even so, that was enough to make Lin Jichen secretly delighted. He looked down at the item that had dropped, and it turned out to be a bow. A green bow shaped like a crescent moon lay on the ground. Lin Jichen picked it up. Ordinary grade. Green bamboo snake bow. An ordinary grade bow and arrow made from bamboo roots and snake tendons. Strength +2, attack speed 1s. He didn't expect to actually get a piece of equipment. Too bad there were arrows, but no bow. Lin Jichen could only carry the bow on his back for now, and continued to search for the second green bamboo snake. The second snake was just as easy to handle in Lin Jichen's hands, dealt with in a matter of seconds. Apart from its venomous fangs, the snake surprisingly dropped another piece of equipment, leaving Lin Jichen at a loss for words. After playing Tale of Immortal for so many years, this was the first time he felt like the lucky one. So this is how lucky players play the game. Exhilarating. Ordinary grade snake venom arrow. 20 arrows tainted with snake venom, causing the target to lose 2 health points per second for 10 seconds, with effects that can stack. What you wish for comes true. The green bamboo snake bow paired with poison arrows is quite a decent set of equipment for beginners. However, Lin Jichen was in no hurry to use them. Such equipment was very powerful for beginners, but not enough to attract him. Mainly because Lin Jichen planned to play as a sword cultivator, so he didn't consider the path of the archer. Besides, killing these little snakes was effortless, perfect for practicing his sword skills. Lin Jichen continued to weave through the bamboo forest filled with poisonous snakes, his swordsmanship gradually improving, and the third snake was dealt with even faster. The third snake didn't drop anything, but by the time he killed the 5th one, another piece of equipment came his way, and Lin Jichen was almost too happy. It wasn't the equipment that delighted him, but the drop rate of the equipment. With this great luck, he wouldn't have to worry about his equipment in the future. The third piece of equipment turned out to be a small storage bag. Ordinary grade snakeskin storage bag. Can hold +20 items, easy to collect. Lin Jichen gladly accepted it, as he was just worrying about where to store all the snake meat and fangs. Just like that, Lin Jichen managed to deal with all 10 green bamboo snakes without much effort. Mainly because killing these ordinary beasts was too easy, he was still immortal. Once he stepped onto the path of immortality, the monsters he would encounter would be much more challenging. Out of the 10 snakes, apart from the green bamboo snake bow and the storage bag, the subsequent 8 snakes dropped over 100 poison arrows and several copper coins. Copper coins are the common currency for mortals in Tale of Immortal, while cultivators use spirit stones. Other than that, there was nothing else. Even lucky players could only drop these items, which shows how low the drop rate must be for other players. In addition, Lin Jichen's cultivation had risen to 30, still 70 points away from reaching the standard for qi refining. If Lin Jichen was willing to grind away, he could achieve it in less than 2 hours. But he didn't do that. Instead, he quickly gathered his spoils of war and turned to leave the bamboo forest. Compared to leveling up, he had more important things to do. However, just as he took 2 steps out of the bamboo forest, he encountered something annoying. 5 male players blocked his path. Man, you've looted so much equipment in there. Hogging it all to yourself is a bit greedy, don't you think? How about this? Hand over that bow and the storage bag on your waist, and we'll let you go. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Lin Jichen looked at these 5 men, already calculating how to provoke them to strike first. In Tale of Immortal, like other online games, malicious attacks on players would also result in a red name. Those with a red name who are killed face the harshest penalties. Just as he was planning how to turn the tables on these 5 rotten fish, a somewhat sinister voice rang out from behind. Others work hard for their equipment, and you guys want to sort of half without doing anything. There's no such good deal in the world. The kind of people I despise are you guys. The owner of the voice was a young man with a hooked nose, probably in his 20s, with a somewhat feminine appearance. However, his words were quite beautiful, full of a sense of justice. The 5 men blocking Lin Jichen's way became furious and turned to threaten the effeminate man. Mind your own business, otherwise we'll block you too. Oh, really? I'd like to see how you're going to block me, said the effeminate man, as a dozen players followed up behind him. The few were dumbfounded, realizing they had provoked someone they shouldn't have, and quickly apologized. Sorry, brother, we were blind. We'll leave right away. Stop! Who said you could go? Apologize to that brother over there. That's not too much to ask, right? The effeminate man asked. Not at all, not at all. The 5 men apologized to Lin Jichen with a smile, and only then did they slink away. After the bad guys left, the effeminate man turned to Lin Jichen with a friendly smile and said, Brother, are you all right? Lin Jichen looked at the other's sincere eyes and also revealed a meaningful smile. I'm fine. Lin Jichen sneered inwardly. He didn't believe for a second that a villainous rich second generation would come to the rescue out of a sense of justice. Yes, he recognized this effeminate man. In his previous life, this person was quite famous, the young master of Eternal Corporation and the president of Eternal Guild, ruthless and unscrupulous in achieving his goals. And he was very good at disguising himself, with first-rate surface skills, especially adept at winning people over. If it weren't for one of his close subordinates betraying him and exposing all his secrets, many people would still think he was a refined gentleman. Lin Jichen recalled the expressions of those 5 men and their somewhat stiff dialogue. He guessed that those 5 were probably this eternal young master's men, putting on a show of coming to the rescue to leave a good impression on him, either to win him over or to buy the equipment he had. Who says the second-generation wealthy are necessarily fools? Let me introduce myself. I'm Wang Jinghao, president of Eternal Guild. I was just passing by and saw brother being blocked, couldn't stand it, and had to say something. I hope brother doesn't mind. Wang Jinghao spoke flawlessly, the kind that made people feel close when they heard it. Unfortunately, Lin Jichen knew his true nature and wasn't buying it at all. Wang Jinghao had had a grudge against him before. After Lin Jichen made it to the top 10 of the heavenly rankings, Eternal Guild had sent people to poach him. But Lin Jichen was proud and straightforward at the time, and he rejected the invitation on the spot. Unexpectedly, this earned him the resentment of the Eternal Young Master, causing Lin Jichen to suffer several losses in secret. If it were the old Lin Jichen, he would have chosen to leave without a word. But now, having lived a second life, Lin Jichen's temperament had already changed. Greenhorns often find themselves at a disadvantage. Lin Jichen gave Wang Jinghao a slight smile, feigning politeness. Thanks, buddy. My name is Lin Jichen. Seeing this, Wang Jinghao felt a smug sense of control, but he maintained a courteous facade. Just as he was about to engage in further pleasantries and then start his recruitment scheme, Lin Jichen hurriedly interjected. I'm in a rush. Gotta go. We'll chat another time. With that, he vanished from sight, leaving Wang Jinghao with his mouth agape, his prepared pleasantries turning into a lump in his throat, swallowed back down. Young master, that man is too disrespectful, his subordinate exclaimed. Wang Jinghao's face alternated between shades of green and white, but soon he chuckled. Perhaps he really was busy. His attitude wasn't bad, and he's clearly a master. It's normal for masters to have a temper. Let's start with a good deed. No rush. We'll take it slow. Sooner or later, he'll work for me. Lin Jichen immediately returned to the village and the weapon shop. Handing over the mission item, Lin Jichen received a letter. Yes, this was the letter he wanted. The essential item for joining a sect. The opportunity mentioned by the weapon shop owner. However, obtaining this letter required wit, not just idle chatter. The type of sect letter you received depended on the weapon you chose earlier. If Lin Jichen had chosen a saber, it would certainly have been a letter from the saber sect. He had asked the weapon shop owner, and so far, he was the only one to have received the letter mission. Others were still clueless, wandering around looking for tasks from tailors, village chiefs, butchers, even cats and dogs. Their tasks were merely mundane, at best increasing their cultivation a bit and earning some spare change. They never questioned why, in a game of immortals, they were stuck doing a multitude of mundane tasks. It would take days for most people to figure it out. Lin Jichen had no desire to stay here. He was set on pursuing the path of immortality. With the letter in hand, he prepared to leave the village. But before leaving, Lin Jichen had one more thing to do. He went to the busiest part of the village. Step right up, have a look. Tearful fire sale. Want to get stronger? Need equipment? The server's first green bamboo snake bow up for auction. Highest bidder wins. Step right up, have a look. In the village center, Lin Jichen showcased the green bamboo snake bow, shouting loudly. The game had just started, and few players had equipment to sell, let alone the willingness to part with it. So when Lin Jichen shouted, a large crowd of players gathered around, curious about the bow's attributes. Lin Jichen generously displayed the attributes of the green bamboo snake bow, along with the poison arrow's effects. Everyone's eyes nearly popped out at the sight. This equipment was incredibly powerful. A strength boost of +2 was one thing, but the poison arrows could cause continuous bleeding, even stacking. What monster in the starting village could withstand such damage? Wouldn't this make grinding for experience a breeze? Brother, name your price. No price, bid as you like, Lin Jichen responded. I don't have any copper coins. Can we trade with cash? Yes, I only accept cash. No copper coins. Lin Jichen nodded, feigning regret. I'll offer 500. I'll give 1,000. 1,005. 1,008. Soon, the price soared over 5,000, but Lin Jichen remained indifferent, even sitting down leisurely to listen to the bidding. The noise from the auction grew louder, attracting even more onlookers. Among them, a group of female players approached, all stunning beauties. The leader, a short-haired woman, was particularly striking with her elegant eyebrows, phoenix eyes, clear complexion, ear-length hair, graceful figure, and distinguished aura. This group of female players captured the attention of all the men present. Such a scene of beauties was the stuff of men's dreams. Now, with the chance to see it with their own eyes, they couldn't help but stare. The women approached Lin Jichen, and the short-haired leader spoke softly. 50,000. As soon as the bid of 50,000 was called, the previously enthusiastic bidders fell silent. Lin Jichen's eyes lit up. The price was right. Just as he was about to close the deal, another group approached, led by none other than Wang Jinghao, the president of the Eternal Guild. I'll offer 60,000. The crowd gasped. It was just a piece of starter equipment. Was it really worth that much? After Wang Jinghao made his bid, he cheerfully said to Lin Jichen, Brother Lin, what a coincidence to meet again. Lin Jichen returned a forced smile, which Wang Jinghao failed to see through, still brimming with enthusiasm. I only wish to sell my equipment, and I hope Brother Wang can understand." "Understood, understood. Brother Lin has principles, and I, Wang Jinghao, admire such a person the most. This bow is just what my guild members want, so I won't hold back." Wang Jinghao spoke as if the bow was already his. The short-haired woman initially worried that Lin Jichen might sell Wang Jinghao a favor, but after hearing Lin Jichen's response, she was reassured and continued to bid without giving Wang Jinghao any chance for a favor. 70,000. 100,000, Wang Jinghao retorted without hesitation. 200,000. The short-haired woman seemed to be no ordinary individual, seemingly intent on outbidding Wang Jinghao. Wang Jinghao's expression changed slightly. It wasn't that he minded the money. He just wanted to understand the reason behind her persistence. 250,000. After stating his price, Wang Jinghao immediately smiled at the short-haired woman and asked, "May I know which guild this beautiful lady is from? I am Wang Jinghao, president of the Eternal Guild." His words caused a stir among the players present. The Eternal Guild was well known in the gaming world, a prominent gaming guild. The Eternal Corporation, the guild's backer, was among the top 20 conglomerates in Asia. The short-haired woman, seemingly unfazed by the revelation, calmly spoke to Lin Jichen. "Could you give me 2 minutes? I need to call my boss." "Why turn down money that's being offered?" Lin Jichen readily nodded, ignoring Wang Jinghao's changing expression. The short-haired woman immediately logged off on the spot, but her subordinates waited. Sure enough, in less than 2 minutes, she returned, not conceding, but raising the bid even higher. 500,000. The crowd erupted in astonishment. Good heavens, selling a piece of starter equipment for 500,000! Had they lost their minds? Wang Jinghao finally lost his composure. No amount of pretense could hide his shock now.